All right, welcome back to Appalachian Dim Sum.
Where our entertainment is our comfort food.
And this is episode 33, main course.
Yes.
And we were talking about
the empty man.
Empty man.
If you saw the last episode, you saw the empty bowl.
The empty bowl.
We have fixed that. We manifested some food. Get into the main course food part first.
Yeah, sure.
So on a last second whim of us trying to get together last night, doing some texts and Discord back and forth, it was like, what are we going to do for the food thing? I was like, oh, I hadn't really thought of anything. I was like, me neither.
Hence the empty bowl.
quick internet search is like empty calories. Let's go that way.
Yep.
I think every picture that I pulled up of something that had empty calories had French fries, donuts, and cookies, and they had different other things mixed in. But I think those were the constant across all of those, whatever those were, little websites. So we went with empty calorie number 1 for our main course. We did French fries.
Yeah.
And when you're in this part of the world, you don't just do fries. You do things to them. We
do things to them.
We do things.
You do wonderful things to them.
We put them got some crinkle cuts and put them on a sheet and sprinkled them with shredded cheese and then bacon.
Can't go wrong there.
And I think we'll have a picture in this general area somewhere there.
Yep.
Upon editing.
Yeah. It was good.
That was our main course. Yep. We'll have more empty calories coming soon.
But I'm no longer an empty man. I am a full man from the French fries and the bacon cheese French fries.
The challenge is maintaining enough brain function after eating all that to actually hold a conversation.
Well, it's good that you baked them instead of like fried. It's a little better.
Yeah.
Little, not much, but little.
Yeah. Did I introduce you to sriracha mayonnaise too? Kind of.
The sriracha mayonnaise, yeah, because I usually just do the sriracha.
I think you can buy that probably mixed, but I just go old school. Big blob of mayonnaise, get sriracha until it looks right, stir it all up, get yourself a little spicy mayonnaise to dip it in. I have no idea if that's an Appalachian thing or not. It is in this house.
Well, I've done the barbecue mustard and mayo. That's like if I do a mayo mixture or something, it's usually barbecue and mustard. But the sriracha with the mayonnaise was pretty good.
I like just a straight up ketchup mustard mix too for fries. Yeah. But we actually didn't have any ketchup. We've been doing that no carb, no sugar thing, and there's a lot of those sort of things we used to always have on hand that we just don't anymore because.
Yeah, does low sugar ketchup exist?
I don't want to know.
I don't think so.
I can't imagine.
That's just tomato sauce.
I'm just picturing that coming out of some squeeze tube, just like nope.
Like a tomato paste tube.
Ugh. It's like you get homemade peanut butter. It's actually pretty good if you get somebody who knows how to make it, but man, it's rough to look at. You got to stir it up. It's got all that oil. Yeah.
No thanks.
All right. So Empty Man.
Empty Man.
Film you never even heard of when I drew it from the thing.
I hadn't. Nope. And I completely assumed just from like the key art. I was like, oh, it's like the Slender Man, right? It's the title with the key art. Made me think of that.
I'll jump into a note I have on that, and then I'm going to come back to something else. $4 million, $4.8 million gross, I think, on this thing. Cost about $16 million to make.
Oof. Big flop.
Was a flop because it came out right after was there a Slender Man, and there was some other type film like that came out just right before these. And I think on top of this being a thing they shot and were getting ready to release, and then COVID happened, which kind of wrecked their production of it and release of it as well, because it ended up getting released in 2020.
Okay, the Slender Man film was in 2018.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there was I think because those were the films that preceded it, that people just were assuming this is just a third one of those stupid things. It's just a spin-off of was it the first like Slender Man thing or whatever, one of the Insidious movies? He was a character that showed up in one of those.
Maybe. Slender Man was a creepypasta online in like 2010.
There was some kind of character like that showed up as part of one of maybe the second Insidious movie.
Man, I haven't seen the Insidious
or something.
Films. I saw the first one.
But as a property that rolls off of a property and off a property, and after a
Mm-hmm.
while, it's kind of like a virus that keeps replicating itself and getting weaker and weaker. By the time you get to the fifth one, it's just nobody cares. It's a sniffle, and I think that's what this was perceived to have been, and I think it was a huge miss on that. Now, I don't think the I looked it up. I don't remember if it was a Sony. The studio did not like the screenings of it either.
What do you mean didn't like it?
Just didn't think that it would be successful,
Hmm.
and they were. I don't think it
So
might
they
have been
put it
another.
out to die.
Might have been why it kind of got pushed back a little bit, and then they didn't let it. I think they just released it, didn't allow it to finish some of the editing and stuff. But before all that,
Let's see. The production company, Boom Studios, but Fox, 20th Century.
Fox. I couldn't remember who it was, but yeah, I remember reading through a Wikipedia somewhere that I guess they do test screenings on movies, and whoever they brought in to do that, those people weren't impressed or didn't like it for whatever reason, and then they just the studios didn't care for it either. So
That seems to happen a lot.
but the reason we're talking about it is it got online, got word of mouth, developed and a lot of horror groups of fan bases and stuff became very popular, and there are some groups of people that I think have become devoted fans just to this movie. I did not research those because that's getting into some pretty obscure groups of people that I probably don't want to go on those Reddits and see what's happening. But
Well, do you have anything about the comics?
I pulled up a tab on that, so go
Okay.
ahead and let me catch up with you.
I just looked up how many comics there were when it was produced, and it looks like it was produced in 2014.
Yeah.
And there were 6 issues. And from what people are saying here, it's like the movie is adapted loosely from the source material.
Yeah, it's one of those things I had on the list back when I first saw this to get this graphic novel, and I always forget to do it. I'm going to put it back on my list to do. It's one of those things I didn't want to read about because I didn't want it spoiled,
Right.
because that's one of the things with the movie. This movie is a reveal on top of a reveal, probably on top of one more reveal.
Yeah. While we were watching it, there were a couple of times I'd be like, "So is this happening?" And no, that's not what was happening.
Yeah.
And there was one specific instance where I was like, "Oh, so okay, these two things aren't connected at all." And then literally the next scene, it's like they're exactly connected. They're like the same thing. I was like, "Oh, okay."
It's a great watch.
Yeah, it is.
It's a one of the movies that I kind of like Midnight Mass. I like to show to people because of kind of goes back to maybe this is an Appalachian thing. My grandparents would, when we started getting malls in Roanoke, wanted to go to the mall, get a cookie or an ice cream cone, and sit on a bench
people.
and watch people.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that's ingrained in me. I like watching people react to movies, especially movies that I like.
I mean, that's a whole genre on YouTube.
Really,
it's like it's people will take a film that they've never seen before, and then they'll like pare it down to 30 minutes or something, and they'll just have the scenes, which totally frustrates me because we can't even show trailers. Whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah,
most of that stuff on YouTube is probably acting and
oh yeah, it's reactions. I've joked before where like if I filmed myself reacting to a film, most of it would just be like just straight face, just watching the movie.
Yeah.
I should actually record myself watching a film at some point to see if I actually do make faces. That would be interesting.
There's some that I'd be like,
yeah,
wow, but
you can't make a 30-minute video off of one reaction.
There'd be a lot of this too. It'd be a lot of
nodding off. Oh.
I don't think I want a reaction video where I'm like drooling across my beard. I'm like, wow, like what happened?
Old man watches movie for 500th time.
That should give you a good. That'd be a good tomato meter, though.
Yeah,
it's like if I stay awake in it, it's good.
that could be the meter.
If I fall asleep once, it's okay.
Snooze fest and wide awake. Those are the two.
Passed
extremes.
Out, open mouth snoring.
Yeah,
do not watch.
One of the few things that I've seen, of the comic are just like pages, and at one point, like it shows like the empty man's like realm. So, and it seems like the comic book probably goes a bit more into the supernatural.
I think so.
Aspects.
I want to get it and read it. And if I get it and read through it sometime, I'll bring it to an appetizer, just to share, because it'll be a good follow up to talking about this. But I think that probably reading something like that and then watching the movie would probably not be the way to do it. I'd watch the movie first and then maybe explore the book, because it kind of feels to me like you might get disappointed by the movie because it didn't do something that the book did or something like that. But
I think I know I've kind of gone back and forth on it on not films. I always think if you're gonna read a book of a film, you read it after the film, you watch the film, because almost always, few exceptions, but almost always, you'll watch the film and you'll like it.
Yeah.
Then you'll read the book and you'll like that.
Yeah.
If you do the opposite, you'll read the book and you'll like it, and you'll watch the film and be disappointed.
Yeah.
Really, manga and anime is really the only genre I can think of. I was like, well, you can read the book first and then watch it as live action. That'd be cool.
Yes.
But that's, like I said, I've kind of gone back and forth on, do you watch the anime or read the manga? But I think I finally settled on, if you can, read the manga first, then watch the anime. That way it's almost like you're just seeing something that you like brought faithfully to life.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't that's not what happened to Empty Man. The fans of the Empty Man graphic novel, I don't know, maybe they were disappointed in the film. I don't know.
Yeah. So it definitely seems like there was it's a ripe set of storylines or material for there to be other properties, other shows or movies or other books. But it kind of seems like so far this has been it. And
well, it's a really cool mythos that he's come up with.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. But I'm gonna do my disclaimer.
Sure. Spoilers.
While you're chat GPTing.
Yeah.
This isn't just spoilers. This is my disclaimer about this film. This film is as demonic and as pagan as they come. I don't endorse its message. You and I both kind of share we enjoy twist. We enjoy the discomfort of horror movies because I think we're both strong-minded enough to be able to watch them and take them as they are. I know I am strong-minded. I've always said if you look up stubborn in the dictionary, it doesn't say see me. It says stay the hell away from that guy. But with this movie, like any other spiritual horror movie, and that's really what this is, you need to decide for yourself whether you want to open yourself up to that side of the spiritual realm. For me, I prefer to confront evil and bad things. It's how I've been raised and how I've lived most of my adult life. So I want to know my enemy. But with films like this, you need to understand what is true and what is fiction. And if you're somebody that struggles with that, or if you think something like this will really hurt your conscience or really stick with you and bother you, I say don't watch this film. And I say that because this is one of the few films that after I watch it, I'll go outside and do the looking over my shoulder thing because it really does kind of get into your mind. It gets into my mind. I don't know if that's the case for everybody. And I'm not saying that to hype the movie up. I'm just saying that there are a lot of things here that are fine if you're strong enough to kind of recognize what's true and what's not. And if you're somebody that's struggling, having some problems, maybe these aren't the types of movies to watch because this is very spiritual. And we've talked a little bit about how we're fine watching. We were just talking recently about The Boys, about how we could watch something like that and be okay with it and not approve of it, but it's not going to affect our behavior. Yeah. But some of the sexual depravity in that show really is bad for weaker people that are struggling.
Yeah.
To put those kind of thoughts into people's minds. So that's my disclaimer on this. Demons are real. I mean, maybe that's a discussion for a topic all by itself. If you don't believe me, turn on the TV for 30 minutes or go walk 3 blocks downtown in any city. It's not going to be little people there with horns, but there's a lot of spiritual malaise out there, and things like this can kind of prey on people that are struggling with that. So there's my disclaimer on the movie.
I definitely think films like this in the spiritual horror genre, I guess you would call it, touch on something that I do believe is real, but it's a fictionalization of it. Like this specific story and like I'll even say like Hellraiser. I mean, like those kind of things evoke things that I believe are real, but I don't think they invoke them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's I think the themes are real, the themes are true, but it's just this is a fictional exploration of those themes.
I'll come back to almost the exact point that you're making there, the little elaboration after we go through the movie.
Okay.
Because I think it'll make more sense. Right now we're talking about something that nobody might even have any idea what we're talking about, what this movie even does. But from this point on, we will be spoiling the story.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're going to talk about
it. So this is like your pause section if you need to go watch it. It's not long. Is it hour 40? Something like that. You could go watch this, go get a snack, and come back and pick us back up here.
There you go. It's on Hulu right now. I don't know in the future.
Movie opens with these 4 characters who I think you thought were our movie characters.
Yeah, I was, like I said, I came in completely, I didn't want to know anything about this. All I knew was the key art with the empty man and like the empty man in the tea.
Yeah.
That's really all I knew.
It really is a misdirection. And I think it's some of the brilliance of this movie is that it is a multiple misdirections in this thing.
And when it opens up, it's on these 4 characters who are like, what, the Himalayas or something?
I looked it up finally. They're in Bhutan.
Bhutan.
That is northeast of India on the border of China, just over from Nepal on the very eastern side of the Himalayas.
Okay.
I don't know where they shot, what they shot here. Wherever they shot that was beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
And it might have been in that section. It could have been in India. I don't know.
But at that point, I was settled in. I was all cuddled in and be like, ooh, okay. So, and at one point, they even find a little cabin. Like, awesome. They're in a cabin. They're in the Himalayas. It's snowing. We're in for an hour and a half of rip roaring Evil Dead like time. Now I was up for it. I was like, this is great. Let's do it.
That's basically the prologue to the movie.
Yeah.
It's 1995 when this happens, and your 4 characters are Paul, Ruthie, his girlfriend, Greg, and Fiona. Paul, you get a little bit of that, just enough to give you some backstory without having to go into a 30-minute scene to let you know he's got probably some sort of suicidal type past.
Yeah, he's got some issues.
He's got some
scars on his arms and stuff. And
I think the friend Greg even says sometimes like we're not going to keep coddling Paul and putting up with his BS and all this stuff when something happens to Paul. So I like that they give you that there's this background, but it's not important enough to the story that we need to like give you 20 minutes of it. So the group of hikers, they're in Bhutan. While they're hiking, only Paul hears this whistle, and he's like, "You guys hear that?"
And it's almost to the point if you ever been like in the mountains, like mountains can whistle just because the wind moving through the trees or moving through the mountains, like that sound you can hear that. And when I was watching this, kind of what I thought it was like, oh well, he's just hearing the wind going through the mountains.
And when I say around the mountains, they are up above the tree line.
Oh yeah, they're in the snow.
They cross like this bridge that you would never get me across. You could shoot at me and I would just charge you instead of going across that bridge. It's like this little chain link bridge that goes across this gorge you can't even see the bottom of between 2 of these peaks, and got little tassels and flyers and stuff on it, I guess, so that our airplane doesn't fly into it. And they cross this thing going up towards the peak of this mountain.
And the bridge is all chain. Like it's not like it doesn't have solid slats. No, it's like chain on the bottom so you can see down to nothing.
I don't do heights and I don't do like caverns. And I've tried to walk across the thing and down at Sevierville, that glass bridge you can walk across. Been about 20 feet out and been like, nope, I'll see y'all when y'all come back. And like I said, I'd rather fight a polar bear with a flip-flop than cross something like that.
I've looked this up before, but I forgot what it was called. It's called thalassophobia. And I do have this. My fear is like of deep water. I do not like water.
I don't like the ocean. I don't mind water. I just don't like the ocean.
The depth is the issue. And I think that is a similar type of fear, like the fear of height. It's the fear of the nothing underneath. Yeah.
I just don't want to ever get eaten by an animal.
Right.
There's too many things in the ocean that can consume me.
That's what I've always said ever since I was a kid. I'm like, I don't know what's in there. I'm like, oh yeah, we know what's in there. I'm like, no, you don't know what could come up. You don't know what's all the way down there.
No.
And I don't want to be the guy on the news that got eaten by
I don't
it.
want to be the guy. This is the case study on this new species we discovered. Apparently, he likes big fat guys from Southwest Virginia with beards.
Yeah.
I was that perfect scent that lured him out. It was French fries and mayonnaise and bacon. but
once they got past the,
they,
what were they doing on this trip?
They were just, it was sort of like a hiking to a peak kind
Okay,
of
they
thing.
were just
Almost like going to the
Mount Everest. Okay.
But they were doing it somewhere where you don't have to wait in line with 10,000 other people that litter trash all over the place. I guess they found a isolated place to go.
So it was just an excursion.
I've done the same thing. I've been up to the top of Engineers Pass in Colorado, 11,000, right at 12,000 feet. And it really is a spiritual experience to be that high and look down into a valley and see a thunderstorm moving through the valley from above. That's just a thing you can't experience that in Virginia because we get to maybe 5,000 foot peaks around here. I think when you get into the Himalayas, you're another 8,000 feet above where you get to in like Colorado.
See, most Westerners, I think, I don't know, in the west of America, are like the Rockies tall enough for that? But I think, like me, my own experience of that has only ever been through airplanes.
Yeah, your tree line is 8,000 or 9,000 feet, somewhere in that range, just to where you get to a point where plants can't grow anymore. And it is a line you can see across mountains where just stuff stops growing. And
trees like, it's too cold.
Yeah. And you're going in Colorado, sometimes 3,000 feet above that, almost another mountain above that, another Virginia mountain above that.
Yeah.
And then in the Himalayas, you're going 3 or 4 more mountains above that line. So
I've only been out west once, and it was like in Wyoming. And I just started seeing like the mountains in the horizon and stuff like that. It's absolutely beautiful. Absolutely.
The thing that you don't process with stuff like that is like, even at like 10,000 feet, you bend over to like do something, you stand back up and you almost black out because your body is not used to that level of oxygen. Right. And we actually used to carry Goody's powder around with us for the headaches because it was a really fast acting response to headaches, because you would get such throbbing headaches sometimes that it would almost disable you. And that's when I was younger. I can't imagine now. I'd probably walk out there and get out of the truck and just fall flat on my face and just be like,
out.
y'all come back and pick me up when you're ready to go back to the cabin.
So after they get across this chain bridge, is that when they twirl the prayer drums?
They walk past the little spinning their prayer totems or something. I forget exactly how you call them. They all spin those, keep walking. I don't know if it has anything to do with the movie. They do focus on, it stops on 2 symbols and it focuses on them. It always makes me think, what did that mean?
Yeah.
But maybe it means nothing. Maybe it was just a cool in the thing area. They get to the peak where you can see this majestic valley. You can see that there's a storm coming down below. You see a little lightning and they're all looking above it. Paul hears this whistling. Hey guys, do you hear that? And they're like, no. And then he hears it a couple more times and he starts walking to it. I think at that point you're like, is he just going to like eat off the top of the mountain?
That's what I was thinking. I thought he was just going to, like, there's a cliff and he's just going to walk right off the edge.
But he falls down into a gap.
Yeah.
Another thing that's terrifying about areas like that, you get into places that have glaciers and things where you could literally fall into a hole you could barely fit in, and you could fall for miles or slide through a tube and come out underwater somewhere. I mean, it's a dangerous, places like that are dangerous. But he falls down into like this.
That's why I would never go around glaciers and stuff.
No, I see people walking on them all the time. I mean, y'all are
insane.
Y'all ain't smart. But he falls down into this like just little tiny gap and finds this big cavern, and then they're like trying to see if he's okay. They finally just lower themselves.
It's probably like
down.
a 20 foot drop or something.
Yeah.
It wasn't enough to hurt him, but it was enough to where like they had to rappel down.
But he doesn't respond to them. They go down into the thing, and when they get down there, they find him sitting crisscross applesauce in front of. You have the image there.
Let's go next. Yeah. This guy.
To that thing, and he's sitting in front of it, staring at it, not responding to his friend who comes down there to get him. And what's he say? He reaches up, tells him, he's trying to get him. He's like,
if you touch me, you'll die. You're going to die. Yeah, if you touch me, you're going to die.
And he finally makes the decision to, like, even when he touches him to move him, like, you can see that he like takes this deep breath, like he's almost like he's relieved.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's the thing behind this, that was happy that he touched him and set him free or something. I don't know.
I kind of got that sigh I got what I got from that was a sigh of despair.
Yeah, could have been.
When he touched him, he was like,
He knows what's going to
"Oh
happen.
no, yeah."
But they take him back to the cabin where he's still kind of catatonic. Um, and you start to get this day 1, day 2, day 3 labeling of events, and that becomes a theme throughout the rest of the movie. Um, but they, I think at one point they see the empty man outside. The girl does. That's Ruthie.
Well, he since he's in the catatonic state, they take him and they find that cabin.
Yeah.
And
there's just an old abandoned cabin, just a sort of at the base of a hill.
Yeah, like across the chain link bridge, and they decide to stay there for the night because of the storm that's coming on.
Yeah.
And during the storm, they see the shadowy figure out in the storm.
Yeah. And it charges at them. At the girl, she closes the cabin door. Then it's not there, and her friends show back up. They go through the next night, and I think you get this, like, I guess the first time you see the little whispering. He's
laying on top of the girl and just like whispering. It's nothing really, like just gibberish.
It sounds just like
it just like clicks,
and it's just like
into her ear.
It's so creepy looking. Yeah. The way that everything in this film, the way it's shot, is I think brilliantly done, brilliantly executed.
I made the comment multiple times where I was just taken aback by the cinematography, the direction. There are a couple of shots early on where I don't know if they actually did this, but what it looked like they did is they as they moved the camera, like the camera turned into like a fisheye lens. Yeah. It was just, I'm a fan of the director of The Empty Man, James Dale. No, that's David Pryor. Yeah. I'm a fan of David Pryor's. I will watch what David Pryor does, but because he hasn't done a lot. Yeah. Which is, I was surprised at. He's a very, very competent filmmaker. Yes. It seemed like, this should probably be talked about later, but whatever. It seems like he came up and kind of like learned the craft before he started actually producing films. Yeah. Because a lot of the stuff is like behind the scenes and stuff like that. Yeah. So I'm absolute respect for this man.
So Paul, after creepily whispering into his girlfriend's ear, which is kind of how the Empty Man spreads, I guess, disappears. They go out and track him through the snow and find him back at the bridge. Uh-huh. And at this point, Ruthie, the girlfriend, has already been whispered into, and she's into whatever trance or whatever's happening. They're at the bridge trying to figure him out, trying to figure out what he's doing. And Ruthie just, and they planned it earlier. You see like a little knife sitting there, but you think that she's picking up the knife because that's when she's getting chased back into the house, that she picks up the knife. But apparently she keeps the knife because then she stabs Greg like in the back 2 or 3 times. They're standing at the edge of this gorge with this chain link bridge across this bottomless pit. And then he collapses, falls into it. The girl, Fiona, turns around. She just instantly like slices her throat. She goes into the gorge, and then Ruthie turns around and kind of looks at him and sort of holds the knife, and she just yeets herself off backwards, and she goes into the gorge. And then Paul's just sitting there just like, he's just chilling out.
and I was just thinking, like, they just killed off the cast.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things. It's like, these are all the characters in the movie. It's like, how long are we 14 minutes in? There's nobody left. What is this movie doing? And then you jump to 2018 to Missouri from Bhutan in the Himalayas. You meet James Lasombra, who you're introduced to him at a sort of like an Applebee's or something, where he's having a birthday by himself and trying to cash in his
we meet him at his shop. He has like a little
security shop.
Yeah, he like makes keys and stuff. Maybe he's a
home security kind of,
like a home security, or like maybe a locksmith or something. I don't know.
He sells mace and stuff too.
Right, because he recommends a different mace to the woman. Yeah. And he goes from there to like the little Shoney's or Applebee's or whatever.
Yeah, he's having like this little miserably sad birthday for himself, having a beer and a waffle, and they come out and sing happy birthday to customer. And he gives him like the little certificate for his one free meal at wherever he is. And it kind of like really endears you to the dude right from the start that he's like this
kind of
a lone guy, sort of
but means well, because one of the first thing they show him doing is telling a woman who's trying to buy some mace, well, you don't want this one because you got to shake it to activate it.
Yeah.
So,
and just as a reaction to like the whole thing in the diner, you kind of feel for him. Is like,
you see him all embarrassed.
You get a sense of humor from him there.
There's a little kid watching him.
Yeah.
Kind of waves at him.
Yeah. But then he kind of gets into a story where he meets with this girl Amanda, and you find out that she is the daughter of a friend of his, a lady named Nora. And I kind of want to come back to that later.
Mm-hmm.
She kind of tells you, she almost spoils the movie for you in the opening conversation.
Yeah.
But you don't really process it because you don't have any idea what's going on at this point. She just gives you this random conversation about manifestation and nothing is real. And then she walks off and then she disappears. And the next.
And even from, like, she runs away from home.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, yeah, she disappears. I guess you don't know what's happened to her because she's gone. Police come to the house and there's on the mirror. Is that what we have up now?
Yep.
The empty man made me do it, written in blood. And I think the police come and they're like.
And is this where we find out he is a ex-cop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He used to be an investigator.
And we find out James. His actor's name is James too.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Guy that you would recognize if you've watched any kind of like military type movies. He's been in a lot of things where like he's a military operator.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Those kind of things.
He definitely has that look.
I think he's been in maybe a Marvel movie or something as a background character, but not like a main thing. But
okay.
Finds the Empty Man Made Me Do It written in blood. Finds some literature for this thing called the Pontifex Society, and kind of pockets that. You don't see too much else. James meets Deborah, who is one of Amanda's friends in high school. And even that, those are the character building things that I just like about this story, where like he's smoking a cigarette when she approaches him, and he says, "Come over here and talk to me for a second." He's like, "Will you come and talk to me for a second?" And she looks at a cigarette. It's like, "Can I have one?" He's like, "You know, it's bad for you, right?" And she kind of tilts her head to the side and looks at him like, "Really?" He's like, "Just come on in." And he gives her a cigarette. It's a relatable character. It's funny. I'm not saying give cigarettes to kids, but just the way the guy is portrayed is well thought out, I thought.
Well, honestly, and I wouldn't be surprised if the fact that the main character smokes is one of the reasons it didn't get a lot of view when it first came out. But that I was surprised to see a main character smoking and it not being portrayed as a horribly negative thing. Yeah. They mention it, it's bad for you, yeah. But I think it's good, especially because we, as a society, we view smoking as being like a bad thing now, like it's bad for you, don't do it. And it was a nice way to give him a little bit of character flaw, and that's what I always look for in a lot. It
really feels
films.
Like this movie was made kind of like the
in
second season. Well, yeah,
that's what
kind
it
of
feels
like the second season of the Terminal List I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
Where somebody just took their hands off of it and he made it, and maybe they let him have the freedom to do it, and maybe that's why they didn't like the final outcome, because they didn't get to stick their little fingers into everything that he did. Because it does feel like a movie from a decade earlier with what's shown and what's allowed. But meets Deborah. Deborah starts telling him about what's going on with Amanda and the friends, and tells him about how they went to the bridge.
There's a little backstory, like a little flashback here.
Yeah,
where we get to see all the kids on the bridge
and
doing this.
Probably the first time you really get
ritual.
That first diversion where you think maybe this is turning into like a Slender Man movie or something,
like a slasher. Yeah.
They're on the bridge hanging out, being little.
Deborah, when she's in the car, she sees the empty man in the background, and we had to rewind that because like the movies will tell you, this is something you need to pay attention to, and I was like, what, did she see something?
Yeah,
was there something there?
Yeah,
so we rewound it, fought Hulu's rewind function.
Yeah,
and
I don't know if that's just my Hulu or if it's everybody's Hulu, but like if you try to back up 30 seconds in Hulu, it'll go back there and start playing, and it takes you right back to where you just were. And it's like, it's like, you're not supposed to rewind. I'm like, rewind the freaking movie back. literally sitting there yelling at the TV.
But even rewatching it, it is kind of hard to see. It is in the background. The shadow figure is in the shadows. I mean, it's easy to miss.
But flashes back to them going to a bridge, sort of like something I always say is sort of like an old West Virginia bridge kind of thing. But this is in Missouri, so I don't know anything about Missouri.
I'm sure those old bridges are everywhere.
And there are kids just hanging out, being kids. Yeah, I hate everything.
Drinking,
picking on each other.
Yeah.
And then she says they find a bottle, and then she tells them about the lore of the empty man. That if you blow into the bottle
and think of the empty man,
you think of him as you doing it, and we all do that, then you can make him appear. And of course they do all their little thing, and they all take turns, and then it kind of shifts into what happens to me. And that's one of the things that kind of makes this movie extra creepy for me, as I've had it happen a few times, where you walk outside and there's a lot of stuff going on because we have coyotes and bear and all sorts of animals. We have giant owls that will fly over top of your head here. That I can walk outside and it's literally like sometimes somebody just turns nature off and it goes dead silent, and that's a bad feeling to be in. That's what happens here. It's like all of a sudden, like nature just turns off, everything goes silent. Then you start to hear like footprints or footsteps on the bridge,
on the opposite side of the bridge, because they're like kind of in the middle.
Yeah,
at this point
you can't really see anything.
Yeah, because it's dark.
But then you start to, it's like one of the girls takes a step, and then like you hear steps that match it, and then it happens again and it matches it, and then all of a sudden it just like boom boom boom, like it's running at them, and they all are like, holy crap, throw up everything, and they just take off, and that's kind of the end of that scene. So I guess they got off the bridge and nothing caught them. You never see that come to conclusion. But
well, then I think this is when they explain that like the first day you call him, and the second day you see him, and the third day he comes for you.
Yeah. And that's why they're always showing day 1, day 2, day 3. So he continues to investigate all this. I think he finds that one of the kids did have a dog, and he goes to the house and it's dead. And
which is where the blood came from the mirror. Yep. And before we go further, at this point in the film, I was getting really obviously like Bloody Mary vibes, Candyman.
Oh yeah.
I was also getting a kind of a Nightmare on Elm Street kind of vibe, with the kind of the unreality of some of the situations that kids were in.
Yes.
So it's definitely one of those films that you can see the influences that help build this film, and I think it's better for it.
I almost want to say this is maybe this is the right way to do it. This is a 4-stage film, and this was stage 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
So where you think, okay, it's shifted to this now.
Oh yeah.
But you're not there yet. He goes around, tries to track down parents, and tries to find anybody. Can't find any answers. Finally goes to the bridge, sees the bottle, and we're both like, don't blow in the bottle.
Don't blow the bottle. But then really, like, if you were really in that situation, you'd blow on the bottle.
Yeah.
You would. Just because we're watching the movie and we know, hey, this is a movie. Don't blow in the bottle.
He blows in the bottle.
He blows in the bottle.
Finds that there's a little manhole that goes to the service part under the bridge, goes down under it.
And we did see that manhole when the kids were hanging out on the bridge. A couple of them came out.
2 of the kids were down there.
Yeah.
You assume teenagers hanging out.
Yeah.
Those 2 probably went down there to make out or do something else, so they could have some privacy. Came back up, but he goes down, looks both ways down the bridge. Have you ever been under one of those? They're like basically just like a catwalk that runs the length of the bridge. I guess you can service anything that you need to get to under there. It gives you a place to work from. Then he turns like back and faces the camera towards the side, and he finds all of the kids except for Amanda hanging in a row.
And Devara.
Yep. They've all hung themselves, and they wrote "The empty man made me do it" in blood on the
bridge,
rafter. Right next to them. So all those kids are gone, and it's like, wow, what are we, 30 minutes into this? And now we've lost a whole nother group of characters.
Right, that's totally what I was thinking at this point. I was like, okay, so the first 4 you killed, they're dead. And then now these other ones, they're dead too. We're running out of characters.
I'll say if this movie is like an hour and 45 minutes, we're going to be like into the 90s or 200s before before this movie ends. Hey, here's 5 more people. Kill them. While this is going on, Deborah is at the spa, and they are 3 days removed from when they blew in the bottle now. So the empty man they're past just seeing him. It's time for an empty man to come. She gets into it's a sauna spa,
It's steam
steam
room.
spa,
Yeah.
and sees the empty man, and it looks like the empty man is like has a pair of scissors and starts stabbing her in the face, and then it gives you a quick flash to show you that she's holding herself by the throat and stabbing herself in the face with the scissors. Yep. And she collapses to the ground, not dead yet, stays alive long enough to write, "The empty man made me do it in her own blood," and Devara is gone. And very,
that was quick.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a rough scene. You're kind of thinking, wow, this empty man thing is like a Freddy Krueger that's chasing these kids down, and then it flips real quick, and she's just literally just standing there doing it to herself, and you're like, oh, okay. It's like, so is there an empty man or not? From there, he continues. James continues to investigate the Pontifex Society. Kind of goes to a place to the building where they're supposed to be, and quickly kind of discovers that it's kind of like a cult. Yep. There's people there. He walks up to the desk, and they give him this
give him a questionnaire. And I have the questionnaire. You want to do that after? Let's get through the synopsis first.
Let's do the synopsis, okay. And then we'll come back and we'll hit the questionnaire, because sure. You get to read little lines of it, and it was like there's a couple of questions, and it's like, does your brain itch or something? And I'm like,
yeah, stuff like that.
They'll flash it up, and there'll be like 20 lines there, and you're trying to read them, but you don't get to see. You have to pause it to read more than one of them. Mm-hmm. But it hits you with these little things. I'm like, what on earth is this? And you meet Stephen Root, awesome character actor. He's my stapler guy from Office Space, is speaking to all these guys. I think his name is like Arthur Parsons. I don't think that matters really in anything.
And it was at this point that I said something along the lines of, okay, so you have this cult, but it has does it have nothing to do with the empty man? Are these completely separate? And like on cue, what Parsons said, the empty man. It's like, oh no, okay, so no, it is exactly linked. They are exactly linked together. They are.
In his speech, and he explains it to him when James is talking to him afterwards, that they're basically selling to their followers that they will get what they want as long as they do what the empty man wants them to do, which is kind of vague. It's like, what does the empty man want you to do? So he's obviously perplexed by all this, and he follows some of the guys from the meeting to the hospital. And there in the hospital, he watches them go into a room where there's a guy on life support, which we don't know at the time, but you're pretty safe to assume.
Before that, right after he leaves the meeting, is this where he goes through like the warehouse and finds that little group?
Yes, that is before that. Where
it's almost like an AA looking group.
Yeah, he's exploring through the below where this meeting is taking place, and finds this group of people that are all like chanting together. Mm-hmm. And he's on a walkway up above, and he makes a noise. They say, "Oh, is he here?"
Yeah,
like he has no idea what they're talking about. And while he's sitting there watching all this happen, he sees like a shadow of somebody that's coming in from down below, and then two of the goons kind of come in, turn the lights on, and
they pretty much say, "All right, guy, you got to go."
Yeah,
because there was one character, Garrett.
You meet Garrett for a minute, and he's kind of talking like some old 50s dude or something.
What are you doing with these cats? Or something like that.
He kind of has a unproductive conversation with him, but I guess that's where he decides, I'm going to follow this guy.
Right.
And he follows Garrett, who gets with a couple of their friends, and then those guys go to the hospital. They walk into this room with this guy that's on life support and start like kneeling down before him. And I think if you're following the story at this point, I think you're like, yeah, that's got to be Paul. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't question that was not I didn't think, well, who's that? You're like, oh, it's the guy from the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he didn't die. He's back here now.
You have no idea of how he got from Bhutan, which is a little, I looked that up too. Bhutan is like a little Buddhist nation. It's a little independent nation there. It's like, how did he get from there to Missouri? It's like, I don't think they got a lot of direct flights. So, but somehow or another, he got back. He's in the hospital. He sees Paul, kind of goes from there. Then I think he eventually tracks these guys to where they go out to this property out in the country, and he follows them there, finds a cabin, does some exploring through the cabin, finds all kinds of weird stuff there. There's files on Amanda, on Paul, on Amanda's friends, and even like that's kind of one of those things you do need to pause because you'll pull out an envelope and see a name, and it's a dark movie. At least at my age, it's hard to see. And finds that there was even a file on him, and he's like, "Well, that's freaking me out."
How do they have this?
He gets to another room where he gets into some videotape equipment, finds some old VHS tapes, and plays these tapes, and you can tell there's some kind of, it's like a found footage thing, where there's something going on. There's this guy that they're all trying to control, and the guy's
some
like,
sort of experiment they were doing, or
yeah,
something.
he's like, the guy's got like weird looking eyes, and at one point, like he's sitting there like picking at him at his side, and he's bleeding, and then he's like painting on
with
the
his
wall
blood.
with his blood, and makes the painting almost comes out looking like the totem that's in the cave.
Mm-hmm. Go back to it.
And that obviously is on purpose, but it comes out like he's almost made that image on the wall of this cabin, and that kind of takes you to the next level of what in the hell is going on in this movie. Because it's like there's not like a bad guy chasing him around. Now there's this weird thing going on in the cabin. He comes out of the cabin. It's getting dark,
and it's very organized too. Like it seems like it's an organization that's doing this.
Yes,
because the Pontifex Institute is kind of presented similarly to like feel wise like Scientology.
Yeah,
like even the building they were in kind of evokes the Scientology building with like the wings and the central
one
tower.
of the things that's kind of, you almost maybe have to see a second time to kind of pick up on it, is that even when he's there talking with the speaker at the building originally, is the crowd stuff sort of seems like they're all there just sort of hanging out, checking it out. But then whenever the speaker speaks to James, they all like
turn toward him.
They all like, it's like they're all in unison. Like they all walk towards him, and they're just like,
oh geez,
they're looking.
That's a cool thing to have happening in the background.
Yeah, that it's like, it's almost like they're tied to the speaker. So whenever the speaker is focusing on, this whole group of people is like being steered by this guy, and you're like, wow, okay, that's
one thing the speaker said that I don't think was ever really addressed, but it kind of was. We'll get to it. Was he was like, "It's nice to see you again, James."
Yes.
And James was like, "I've never been here."
I've never been here.
Yeah.
But back to the cabin.
Back to the cabin.
Comes out of the cabin. It's getting dark.
There's a bear. Then there's not a bear.
Yeah. There's this weird like ratty teddy bear that's in the background, and then like as he's watching the videos, you come back to it and the bear's gone. I'm like, what the hell, is the bear gonna like attack him? There's like just the bear goes away.
Yeah.
And probably because somebody comes and takes the bear out while he's behind him.
I think that was just to show there are people here. They know you're here, and they're aware. And
yeah. He goes outside, and there's like this big campfire, big bonfire.
There's a bonfire, not a campfire. Yeah.
And all these people are like circling it,
dancing around it,
and you're like, what on earth?
In unison.
This ranks into, I talk about how I like scenes from movies that I can separate out an iconic scene from a movie, even if I don't like the movie, and put it into this category. That this is into my category of favorite scenes I've ever seen shot.
And it's not like a tribal dance. It's like they're like almost like running around it in unison.
Yeah.
Together. Yeah. In lockstep. Yeah. It's an impressive looking scene.
Then it goes to,
and the fire twirls.
Well, the fire doesn't really twirl until you start to see something happen to James. James is watching this, and it's almost like he trips into like this little bit of a trance. And when
that's where I was like, where'd the cabin go?
Yeah.
But he just went further than I thought.
Yeah. Or the cabin disappeared. We don't know. That might take a seventh watch for me to try to figure that one out. But fire starts to twirl up, and it looks like it's going up into space, and you're like, is this an alien movie?
That's what I said. Is there going to be a UFO? Because that's the kind of movie this is. It takes so many turns. I could have totally accepted like, oh, okay, it's a UFO. That totem in the beginning was an alien. Sure.
Yeah.
But it didn't go there.
Then he's looking up at space, and he starts to just like, space starts to kind of melt and spin, and it's like he's almost getting into this trance. And I think narratively, he almost, I'll come back to that. I don't want to jump ahead of the ending.
You don't want to spoil the spoilers.
He sees this little has this like little moment where he's almost like he crosses over and then he snaps back out of it. And
He like goes on a trip,
when he snaps
like
back
a
out of it,
psychedelic thing.
the fire is gone and all of the people are standing there in a circle and there's this big like bright light behind them. And then they just turn the light off and then all the people start like moving. They're like shuffling along.
It looks like they're leaving. That's what it looks like.
Yeah. And then like I can't remember what he does, but something breaks his attention again.
He starts to step backwards, and I think he like steps on a loud leaf.
Yeah,
like he makes a noise.
He steps on a twig and like he stops and he looks back at them. They're all just looking at him.
Staring
All of these
straight at
people are
him.
pretty much dressed like kind of like what the Empty Man looks like when you see him in the Himalayas. They've got like a hood on or something. Just dark clothes.
I'd have to look more explicitly at it, but from my view, it looked like they were just in like black jeans and black hoodies.
It could be.
That's what it looked
Might
like
have
to
just
me.
been all just
all
blacked out. But then like they're all staring at each other. He just like on the bridge, he takes a step back and the whole group takes a step forward in unison. And he's like, he has this look on his face like, man, what is that?
I think he actually said something like, oh, hell no, or something.
On the second one he does. He takes a step back and they do it again and he's like, nah. And he just turns and takes off and they all start chasing him and gets back to his car.
And they're jumping on the car.
And he gets away. He goes straight back to, haven't really said much about her, to Amanda's mom, Nora. Mm-hmm. There's interactions in between them where they're...
Is this when we find out their relationship?
Right about that time, yes.
Well, one thing that you haven't touched on is we find out through very quick flashbacks that something happened in his past, and he clearly lost his wife and his son in some sort of car accident.
Yeah, and even like the first night he goes to bed in his house, you hear like this little whisper in the background saying, "Where were you?"
Yeah,
and these little things that keep throwing in that they do fill back in, but they're giving you little pieces of them as the story builds, so you know that there's this other thing happening. And he comes back to this lady Nora.
You want to go through their relationship real quick?
Let me see.
Or do you have it in there?
I have it in here.
Okay, we'll get to it when we get to it.
So I don't think you get that full flashback scene right yet.
Closer toward the end.
Let me see. Yeah.
And Nora is the mother of Amanda, the girl who disappeared.
You get the full thing at the end.
Okay. But the girl he's been chasing, the one that led him to the Pontifex Institute and all that. And we do find out, they do tell him that she is alive. So that was one of the things you were wondering, is she dead or something? No, but she's alive apparently.
Yeah. Then he goes back to get Nora, who is obviously somebody he has some background with. You even get that through the conversation with Amanda at the very beginning, which again is kind of hard to tie straight into it because you just don't understand it all at the same time. It's easier from hindsight.
They definitely drip feed you pretty well in this film.
Takes Nora, gets her to leave the house. He's like, there's people going to be coming looking for you. I want you to be safe. He takes her to a hotel, does the whole, don't answer the door, don't take calls from anybody, call me if anything happens kind of thing. And they reveal at that point that they were having the affair. You don't see how it all happened, but basically you'll get the full part of that at the end. Nora's husband died. Probably were having some kind of affair before that.
We don't know what. Do we know what of? Like, how did he die?
I think it was probably just like a unnatural, like a cancer.
He just died,
kind of thing.
Yeah.
But he and his wife and his daughter, or son, were at the funeral. Mm-hmm. The wife and the son goes back home. He stays there to make sure she's okay, and that escalates, and they kind of hook up. And so right on top of her losing her husband, I don't know if their affair had been going on before that, but it kicks off there if it wasn't already ongoing.
I got the feeling, again, multiple views might change the notion, but I got the feeling that they were close, like as a couple, they were close.
Yeah.
And
that
it was something that, like, their affair was a way that both of them are processing their grief.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't get the feeling that he was having an ongoing affair with Nora.
That's probably right. Because that kind of plays into the fact that they both are kind of losing hope and just kind of giving up on stuff. So
because at the point that we meet them in the story, we don't get the feeling like they're not together. They're not an item. They have obviously had a past,
Yeah.
but they're not actively together.
Yeah. Like she kind of suggests them sort of hooking up a little bit early in the movie when she brings like food over to check on him, and he's just like, nah, let's have a drink.
Yeah.
He's just so.
At one point, because I didn't know the timeline of everything, I was like, wait a minute, is Amanda his? But then during the flashback of the father's or Nora's husband's funeral, you see Amanda and she's about the same age.
Yeah.
So the timing of all this stuff happening is pretty close to the timing of the film events.
Yeah. So from this, he goes back and finds this guy Garrett, sees him coming out of the meeting, kidnaps him, takes him out into by a factory, and just beats his freaking teeth out of him.
He does. He beats him bad.
And
but Garrett's laughing at him.
Garrett's laughing, and the only thing he kind of gets from it, other than the fact that Garrett is kind of he has one of those little moments too where his head kind of reality almost kind of breaks on him again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe Garrett knows that's happening or whatever, but he does tell him about the man in the hospital. And from there, he goes to the hospital where Amanda is there with who we know now is Paul.
Yeah.
And you get to the reveal, you kind of go back, this all sort of plays in together as a mixed scene where you get the full scene of what happened.
To go back real quick to the guy, Paul in the hospital, when we first saw that Paul was in the hospital, the guy in the hospital, he was talking to a nurse that was there who seemed to be kind of in on everything.
Yeah.
And she told him, because you were saying, like, how did Paul even get back? There's just some anonymous benefactor that's been paying for this guy to be in this hospital and to move around for every now and again. He's been there
for 10 years, or been there since that nurse had been there.
Yeah.
She'd been there for 5 years, but he'd been like in the hospital system's care for like 20, whatever it is, from 2018 to 95, 20 plus years. So,
and we can get back to that, who that benefactor might be, because you might have thoughts on that too. But anyway, continue.
Yeah.
So he goes back to the hospital and sees Paul, and
Amanda's there, basically cleaning him up, trimming his beard, shaving him, and then she starts explaining to him who James is, explaining to James who James is.
But James calls Nora at that point.
Well, yeah, you'll get the whole thing. Like, you start to get the whole flashback into seeing that he hooked up with Nora that night. That you kept hearing like this, like there's a little scene where the kid was like clicking and tapping a coin on his teeth.
Mm-hmm.
You get a scene where James's wife and his son were driving back in the snow. The little kid was like clicking a coin on his teeth, and she turns around to kind of fuss at him with that. She turns back around. There's a deer there. She dodges the deer. She launches off the bridge.
The reason, like he's choking on the coin. Like that's the whole, like he's clicking the coin. I think that okay. That's my
I thought it was a turning around. Like, if you don't stop making that noise, I'm gonna.
I think he was clicking on his teeth, and then he started choking on it, and she was leaning back like, "Oh no, my son's choking."
No, I read that scene differently. I have to watch that again.
Yeah,
I thought that was a turnaround. Like, if you don't stop making that noise, I'm gonna give you a reason. I thought it was one of those moments. But anyway, she launches off the bridge. The car gets smashed. Wife and son die. But then, like, Amanda starts explaining to James, is like, we needed to make that memory for you so that you'd be a man with nothing else to lose or gain. And it's starting to flash back into, she's trying to explain to him that he is their tulpa. He is their vessel for the empty man. And that you get other flashbacks back to the scene at the warehouse and like all these other things that have happened. Scene even at the birthday. She starts telling him she asks him a question, like, where did you go to high school?
And she answers it for him.
As he says it, she answers it. It's like multiple times in the movie, he says, I used to live in San Francisco.
Yeah, I grew up in San Francisco. Like he said that multiple times. And as an audience member, you're thinking, what's this guy care so much that he grew up in San Francisco?
But she asks about his background, and then she answers it for him as he's saying it. And it's basically, it's like, you've been alive for 3 days. It's like, you did not exist before this. We had to make a character. Paul was our vessel for the empty man, and Paul was not a strong enough person to be able to withstand being the vessel. That's why he instantly went into having to be in a hospital and care, because he just became catatonic. You found out that the thing at the cabin was that they tried to manifest somebody to be a stronger version of a vessel, and it didn't work.
Right.
Like they made a guy, but it was like it was a malfunction. It was a guy that was like, I don't know if he was crazy or just what. He was sitting there like tearing his own side open and stuff. And then they, I guess, on this attempt, they figured out that they had to make the backstory of all the loss and all the emotional pain to empty, to make him an empty vessel, to make him have so much loss that he has nothing else to lose, doesn't care about living, isn't trying to gain anything. He's just one of those dudes that's just existing. And they manifested this guy, and it even gets back to the flashback of when he walks in on that room, that group of people in that room that are all chanting, and I think that's Amanda there blows into the bottle.
Yeah, Amanda's there.
That actually is when he is created, and that is him coming into the room from the side while he's up there above it. He's having a memory of this. These are all memories that were planted. So he's seeing all this stuff like he was investigating this, but it actually is like everything that you see happen is something that they created happened, and it made this guy and takes him back to where he's. I think it may be a few times you see. Oh no, he sees a picture of. Does he see a picture of himself in the cabin, sitting in that chair in the hallway, or something?
It's like in a tunnel.
Yeah.
It's like when he's looking through his, because it's not because I'm trying to remember. Did he have a file in the cabin that was him?
Yeah.
Or did he find the file back at the institute because it was a binder, and he was flipping through the binder? It was in that binder that he found pictures of himself tied to a chair in like a old wet tunnel.
And that was basically under the facility, the Pontifex thing, where they made him.
Yeah, I thought that right there was like his birthplace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it starts to kind of meld realities there of him remembering that, starting to actually acknowledge that everything that he thinks were his memories were all creations. And he kind of puts himself into that hallway again. And the actual empty man, this beast that we see in the Himalayas, which I've got a name for that thing somewhere. I'll find it in a minute.
Is it based off of something real?
It is based off of I can never say it. It's like where's my mouse? Nyarlathotep.
Okay.
That is a Lovecraftian thing we'll get back to.
Yeah.
He sees that thing. He tries to run from it, tries to shoot it, and cannot fight it off. It pulls its mask off. You see that it's this full Lovecraftian thing with tentacles. It enters him at that point, and then from that little hallway underneath, he exits a door, and he's right back into the room with Paul. And he takes his pistol out, blows Paul's head all over the wall, shoots him.
Which I felt was very similar to the way that the failed empty man painted on the wall.
Exactly like it.
Yeah.
Same pattern and stuff, makes the same pattern on the wall.
It was almost like he was foretelling that or something.
It seems to me like it's a very throne looking design, and it's almost like each time they were trying to make a throne for the empty man. Is the way I saw it. I don't think I saw anything that said that. That's just my interpretation of it. He blows Paul's head all over the place. He has become the empty man. He turns around, and all the people in the hospital are sitting there just watching, and they all take a few steps forward, and they all bow down to him. And it's like the whole world, or at least most of these people in this world, are already part of the society waiting for the empty man to come. He has become him, and that is the end of the movie. And when you get to some kids in the Himalayas jumping off cliffs, then some high school thing with Freddy Krueger chasing them to there, it's like I said, that's at least 4 stages from where it started.
It's definitely a film and a narrative that builds. And like I said, even to the point to where if they pulled out aliens at one point, I'd be like, all right.
Yeah.
I would have accepted that.
I mentioned it there. I remember one of the times he was searching, he found it in the literature, so he looks it up, the word tulpa.
Tulpa, yeah.
A tulpa, sort of a Buddhist idea. is a materialized being created through spiritual practice and intense concentration. So it's something that exists.
Emanation or manifestation.
Yeah.
It says, this is an AI overview. With tulpamancy, a tulpa is considered a sentient and autonomous imaginary friend created through visualization who is treated as a distinct personality from the creator.
And the creature, I'll try one more time to say it. I don't think I even wrote it down right. I did. Nyarlathotep.
Nyarlathotep. Yeah, I think you're probably right on that one.
That's as close as I can get.
That is a Lovecraftian creature.
It is in 2 of his books, and I'm not going to get into the whole lore of that because that would be another 30-minute conversation. He is the evildoer. He is the main antagonist in the Cthulhu mythos, and the secondary antagonist in the Dream Cycle, which are both Lovecraft stories.
And just looking at I'll bring up the image up. Just look at the image that you provided, and it's the one that's on the Lovecraft wiki.
Yeah,
it does seem like it looks very much like that. What we saw of the creature that entered into Jason.
Yeah, into James.
James, yeah.
Yes.
Because it's very tentacly, and that's.
And in the movie, you see it portrayed covered by rags and stuff the whole time. Like, one of the things we did kind of skip is that after James blows into the bottle, he wakes up one night and he thinks somebody's opened his door. He thinks he sees some steps outside his bedroom. The next night he wakes up and there's like a lump in the floor, and it stands up, and it's that creature, and it charges at the door. So he's going through the same stages everybody else did, to where he's seeing the empty man is making itself known. Then they are seeing it, and then on the third day it comes for him. Yeah. And that's why he's been alive for 3 days. And like I said, everything in this movie ties very neatly back together.
All right. So do you think the skeleton creature at the beginning of the film is this Nyarlathotep?
I'm going to guess that there was either that or a later version of it as the empty man, if it has to keep getting into different vessels to stay alive.
Well, it was definitely inhuman, whatever it was.
Because it is in this little Buddhist country, and you do see like one truck go by when they're hiking of just monks. That my thought is, with all like the little spirit things and stuff that were around them, the little spinny things, and the way the bridges were adorned. The movie does not say this at all. It's just my interpretation that maybe they imprisoned it in that cave.
Okay.
That's where I would, if I was going to write that story, or if I was trying to fill in that hole in that story, that's what I would say, is that I would have maybe had a monk in there somewhere trying to maybe stop the kids from going to that area.
The only thing I would think about that is if they imprisoned it in the cave, then you would think that there would be some security or something.
Yeah. Well, if you're 12,000, 14,000 feet up, that's pretty secure.
That's pretty secure. They could have easily, because the gap that he fell through was a gap.
Yeah.
If that gap was a weakened part of the ground and it gave way.
Yeah. Like they had buried it.
Yeah. I think that would have probably lent some credence to that. But I don't think that's not what was going on.
Yeah.
I looked up I brought up on Hulu. I tried to take a screenshot of it, but Hulu on the phone won't let you. It's a black screen. But this is the bell.
Yeah, it stops on those symbols.
Yeah, I don't I mean, it does. Clearly, I don't read this.
I
have no idea what this is.
I would love for there to be comebacks, maybe in a file or something, that with a translation.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's the symbols for the empty man made me do it, or maybe it's a do not enter the cave symbol. Something. Evil lies within. I think it's really interesting that I guess I said just how it diverts expectations over and over and over. That it's not the original group. It's not a ghost movie. The whole thing with the bottles, then the suicide, then the cult thing, the way it just keeps shifting gears, just keeps you guessing. And then you go back after watching it, go back and watch on a second watch, pay attention, or maybe rewind if Hulu will let you, and watch Amanda talk to him at the beginning, where she just basically explains all of this to him.
Yeah.
when he's like, they come out and they're sitting each other by in the backyard on like a bench, like she came over to his house to visit him, and she's just like, it's okay because all the pain in the world, I lost my dad, you lost your family, it doesn't matter because there's nothing, and we can manifest. She says something about manifestation there. I can't remember exactly what she says, but when she basically explains that you can manifest whatever you want or something like that, or you can get what you want if you manifest it. And it just seems so out of place because you're like, you just watched all these kids fall off the gorge right before that, and you're like, so your mind kind of like wipes that aside. I loved like planning that right there in that movie. It was just, I thought that was brilliant. The
This is Arthur Parsons speaking.
Oh, some of the
Yeah,
conversations.
I looked up quotes, see if we could find out what she said.
Yeah,
But it doesn't look like anybody's put that on IMDb anyway.
the casting in this thing I thought was amazing.
I still say that the cast and that they killed off in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I was ready to have a whole movie with those four.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great cast.
That was a good group of people. There wasn't like anything hyperized, no tropey type person there. It was just kind of a realistic group. James and Nora, I think I said that to you.
It wasn't tongue in cheek characters like Cabin in the Woods
or like like Scream or something.
Yeah. They weren't being cute.
I said it to you, I think, while we were watching it, that I think the lady that plays in Nora is really attractive because she seems real.
Mm-hmm.
She's not playing a typical character. She kind of looks like a mom who's been through some things, and she's same thing with James. They just both seem like really well cast people to play these roles of these people that have had some rough times and are kind of tired, I guess, with fighting all the fights that they have to fight in their life. And the girl that played Amanda is mesmerizing. I don't know how else to describe her. She has those eyes that look like, is it Anna Taylor-Joy? Anna Joy Taylor? I always say that wrong.
Yeah, Anna Taylor-Joy.
She almost looks alien.
Mm-hmm.
This girl that played Amanda, not exactly the same, but kind of similar, to where whenever she's like on a scene, you lock in at her eyes because she has like these bigger than life eyes, and just
I would say her eyes are more doe-like than Anna Taylor-Joy's.
But really, the casting, finding her for that role
was good.
Was
and great. They gave her a bob haircut that was really recognizable throughout the film. Whenever you saw the bob haircut, you're like, hey, that's Amanda.
Yeah, it was a horrible haircut. Yeah. The cop, and the whole time through this, there's this detective who's interacting with James.
And they recognize, because when they first meet, the cops and James meets, they're in Nora's house because Amanda's disappeared.
Yeah.
And the other cop that's with Villers, let's see, I don't see it right away, but the cops recognize that James is a cop.
Yeah.
They're like, you were back in another city, and that's where your precinct was. Now you're here.
Yeah. And
that kind of goes into some of my questions about it. But go on with
what I was
talking about the cops.
With the cops is just that they're very realistic portrayals of detectives. They're not over the top. They're not screaming. They're not always like one funny, one serious.
Right. No, it's very like, straight.
Very straight. And like, there's a conversation he has with the guy where he's like, this thing is like a virus.
Yeah.
And it's like, he's like one of the people. He's almost like one of the few people that's not in this cult that sees this all happening around him. It's like you can't.
And he says something along like you got to let it run its course or something like that.
Yeah, he's like, this kind of violence just. I think he was saying somewhere else. He mentions that in another city, somebody else had some kind of violent crime, and they wrote that Empty Man made me do it. So it's happening in other places too, but you don't even explore that part. He just kind of works that in.
And you find out toward the end of the film that James wasn't the only candidate for the Empty Man. Like this Pontifex group was kind of they had plans in different places. So there's It was just James was the one that got to the point they needed him to.
And you would assume with this being sort of a thing that ties back into like a Lovecraft thing is like they're trying to usher in something that's going to bring the end of the world, you know.
Well, one of the things you were talking about, the Pontifex institution is all about manifesting what you want and stuff like that. And they regularly talk about how he is the he's a signal, we are the receiver, or something like that. Like the idea is the empty man, when he's filled with this entity, emanates some sort of information or control signal of some sort, and then the people who are in the Pontifex Institute, and not just them, like the world receives it.
Yeah, that's like why Paul wasn't, he was dying, because he couldn't, like,
his body
channel,
could not physically,
he couldn't channel the signal and keep it, and like they just went and created a better receiver than James, and
better transmitter.
Yeah. I think I've talked about most of the other scene stuff. The bridge scene with the bottle, the suicides, James at home with those appearances of the thing, the little way they work in the backstories. There's all to read about it and say that like this movie had problems getting cut together and production problems and stuff. It's like, how was there? It's like, this is one of the better put together movies I've seen in the last decade, and it's
and time again we get, and I'm anxious to read the comic book because I didn't realize before we were talking about it that people are that's a lot different from the comic book. I brought it up here, and let's see. Asked ChatGPT what people thought of what fans of the Empty Man comic. What did they think about the Empty Man? And apparently, by and large, fans of the comics were disappointed because it didn't resemble the source material at all. It's just the basic idea is the same.
Yeah.
So, which if I was a fan of the comic, I would feel the same way. But that's
why you don't read it first,
right? But the pacing of this film, the way things are shot, made me think of a lot of like Watchmen, was Zack Snyder. And like the reason I think Watchmen is such a fantastic film, Zack Snyder's a great director, but I think it's because it was already completely planned out. Like the visuals were completely planned out. And I got that feeling with this, is like, well, they already knew what everything was supposed to look like. They just put it to film.
And maybe that's not the case.
But it might not. It doesn't look like it's the case. But that is definitely what the feel. And I think it can get even into the core of what comic book stories are. How much comic book authors have to think out stories, because most of the time they're not thinking, well, I'm trying to fit this into an hour and a half movie. They're creating a little world of their own.
I'd love to
you
get
really
into
feel
more
that
how you actually put together a comic story, because if filmmakers would just take what people do in comics. If you watch how somebody does a film,
I mean, that's kind of what the storyboard
start with a
is.
storyboard.
Yeah.
They go through, they have little sketch images of this. I want to do this. I want it to be from this perspective. Comics, if you make a movie based on a comic, it's all done for you. All you have to do is put it to film.
It's even to the point to where you almost wonder why it's not just part of the process to produce a graphic novel of the film.
Of the people, if you made a big Marvel whatever movie, Star Wars movie based on a comic, the percentage of people that would actually go track down the comics and read it is probably less than 25%, probably less than 10%, because most of our country just doesn't read at this point. So bringing that to film, scene for scene, shot for shot, I don't understand why that doesn't happen, because it's not like everybody be like, oh, this is just like the comic. It's like, no, that's only like a very small percentage of people that would actually even understand that it's like the comic. I mean, I always want to go back and read the book that I never got to from you on Edge of Tomorrow to see how that translates, because that movie, very similar, seems like it just, all they did was just take a story and just put it to film. And I don't know how much they deviated from it because it was Tom Cruise and other stuff, but I'm going to read that book from you at some point to find that out. But
it's been a few years since I read it, but I remember feeling very much like this is a Western adaptation that takes the core idea, but like nothing else.
Yeah.
There are some like hero shots that they took, but Like even the alien design is completely different.
Is it? Is it?
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, that's fine too. Again,
Yeah.
watching it as a movie, you don't know the difference,
Right.
and
Right.
that's why I say watch the movie first.
Yep.
One other thing to throw into this too: sound effects and music.
Mm.
So unappreciated by a lot of people that watch stuff, and you don't really understand that the mood that is set for you in some movies, how much the music and sound effect or soundtrack to the movies
Oh yeah.
do. That scene when something really bad, or that sound when something really bad is happening in the Empty Man, where it's just like that, like just menacing tone. It's like the scene is gonna not be good as
Mhm.
soon as that tone starts, and really sad, somber music when they're doing flashback stuff. And again, I do not understand why this wasn't a success, other than maybe it requires too much thought for.
I had before before you told me about it, I had never heard of this film.
Yeah.
So I think it was just for some reason it was buried by Fox. Like they were just like, well, we made it. It didn't like the people that watched it didn't really like it. So just put it out to put it out. We'll recoup some cost. We'll write the rest off.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of films that are put out to die, and I think that's
Well,
what
the
happened.
time
Here.
frame of this too, coming out the year of COVID stuff. I guess
Yeah.
there are a lot of things like that just.
Yeah, I bet there are a lot of films that uh, were casualties of COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to come back to the original thing I started with the disclaimer, but you want to get into you want to do our thing
first. While we were watching it, it was about a third of the way into the film when James was looking through the house. I think it was Devara's house.
Yeah.
And where he right before he finds the dead dog, there is a TV and there's a movie playing.
I think we even had a conversation watching the movie. It's like, man, I just want to go through like every movie that has the TV playing in the background and see what's playing in the background and like log it and see if it has anything to do with the story.
And
I forgot all about it.
Yeah, I looked it up. That's why I made a note while we were. It's like I'm going to forget this if I don't make a note. So I made a note. That film was the 1954 film The Egyptian.
Okay.
And here's the kind of the plot synopsis I pulled up. In ancient Egypt, Sing Yu He is a would-be doctor who saves the life of a young man suffering from a seizure. When the afflicted youth awakes, he introduces himself as the pharaoh Akhenaten and makes Sing Yu He the royal healer. While working at his new prestigious post, Sing Yu He suffers through a botched romance and the death of his adoptive parents. Despondent, he leaves the pharaoh's court to bury his loved ones and, in the process, incurs the wrath of Akhenaten. So, I mean, the youth awakes and he is possessed by the pharaoh Akhenaten.
To me, that's just that just shows to me like that's that next level of vision of filmmaking. Mm-hmm. That I have some other like lore that I kind of have some of this based on. I'm not going to be able to work it into this film, so I'm just going to put it on a screen in the background.
Right.
And it's almost like it's a footnote in a book. Mm-hmm. That if you want to go read the footnote, they say a true scholar will read a book, and then he'll go back and read all of the books that were footnoted.
Yeah.
If I could do that, I would probably not be. I'd be retiring from whatever institute I was in charge of at this point. But.
All right, and before we get into more questions about what happened, let's go through
this is the
Pontifex Institute.
The new membership questionnaire. Yeah. And it says answer every question as you feel right now. Do not stay too long on any question, but answer as soon as you understand it. Move on to the next one. Accuracy depends on your truthfulness. Once completed, you will receive a free in-depth, accurate analysis from an expert evaluator, obligation free. These are all true or false questions.
Okay, we'll do one each, and we'll go down the line here. I'll start. I sometimes wish I'd never been born. Wow. Okay.
I have a sense of health and well-being.
Life itself is a kind of disease.
I'm pretty sure you have to do this at the hospital now.
Yeah.
I think I've seen that question there. An infection is a blessed event.
The brain can itch.
Suicide is a form of thought control.
The entire universe is an erogenous zone.
Good Lord. That's probably something they ask at elementary schools at this point. Which are freaks. Dark thoughts please me.
Nothing is binary. Everything is fluid.
I knew that's an elementary school question. Bunch of freaks. No truths are socially intolerable.
No, some truths.
Some truths are socially intolerable.
Okay. The scientific method is a tool of oppression.
The science says the sky is blue. It is more likely red. Wow. Okay.
Science says the genders are discrete.
This is really starting to frighten me.
Yeah.
This is in a movie.
Yeah, this isn't a. Yeah, that's. I read a couple of these and I was like, these seem like real world questions that people are asking today.
Sure, this didn't come from the Department of Education.
Yeah, wait till a couple down.
I'm gonna probably end up in not a very good place here. Moments. Science, gender,
You're on
menstruation.
menstruation.
Menstruation is no basis by which to determine gender.
And a woman is just as likely to have a penis as a man.
There's no.
And this was in 2016, right?
We need to finish this. I'm gonna. If you want me to not ball this paper up.
All right, keep going. Keep going.
There is no such thing as objectivity.
Rational thought is deadly.
Emotion is truer than thought.
A lot of people think that. Not all shadows are cast from something.
An individual mind is a single cell in a larger consciousness.
The only crime is offending prevailing social constructs.
Everything is permissible.
I know that from somewhere else. I'll tell you in a minute.
I'm struggling to hang on here, dude.
Only a small step. It's only a small step from chaos to freedom.
I keep in mind that I tried to keep this at least PG rated, and the things that are bubbling up for me to say are not PG rated. Which one did you just read?
A small step from chaos to freedom.
There is nothing larger than myself.
To give myself something larger would be completely fulfilling.
Until a civilization has fallen, it has not yet served its purpose.
That was one they highlighted in the film. Social norms should be destroyed simply because they are norms. And a lot of people think that.
There can be no change without violence.
And that too.
Can you get this,
interesting questionnaire, huh?
Get that cursed piece of paper out of my hand and burn it.
You probably won't be surprised to find that the only place I found this was on product websites where you could order this as like a poster or on a t-shirt or on a mug. That's where this came from.
Is this the point where we pause and I go take a deep breath? And...
Everything is permissible reminds me of this game called The Secret World. And their tagline was something like everything is real or something like that. And the idea is like all the conspiracy theories you've heard are true. Like the Illuminati is real, the Earth is hollow, vampires exist, all that kind of stuff. It was a fun little game.
In through the nose, out through the mouth.
The nose, out the mouth. I thought that was fun. That's some.
It's fun in the context of a cult movie.
Yeah.
It's horribly terrifying
if someone seriously
and how much that is ingrained into our freaking society at the moment. That'll take me to my point, but finish what you got.
I just found it interesting that some of them contradict. A couple contradict.
That's every policy manual for police work.
Yeah.
Is that you write a policy that says you can't do this, and then you write a policy that says you can do this, so that if a department decides they want to back the officer that just got on TV for getting into some incident, they can say, well,
we have a policy.
You follow the policy.
Yeah.
If they decide they don't like that officer or they just want to be done with it and they don't want to face the liability, they can say he broke policy.
Mm-hmm.
It's in there 30 pages apart. You never put it together because nobody sits down and reads that crap.
That's what made me hate unions.
Yeah.
When we were at the railroad, I would go through the union and the union charter or whatever, and I the contract, and I'd be like, well, according to the contract here, this is what should be done. And then they would be like, well, there's an addendum that you don't have, but here it is. We'll show it to you from 20 years ago that says this. That supersedes that.
That hate is misdirected. It's why you should hate lawyers.
Right.
And lawyers become congressmen.
Mm.
And that's why you should hate them too. Anybody from anything federal that's tracking anything, if you need directions, let me know. I'm easy to find.
All right. Moving on.
Like I said, there's parts of me that are best remained unlocked or remain locked up and things like that. Unlock them. This is kind of tying back to what I was talking about whether or not you should watch films like this. and is this statement that the only being in the Bible that wants to be God is Satan. And I think a movie that portrays a fantastical way like this, that Satan could reign on the earth, is dangerous. And it's not. Again, I'm fine watching them because I'm ready to defend myself against that stuff. But this portrays, honestly, and especially when you add that cursed questionnaire into this, how easy most people would go along with him.
Oh yeah.
And again, if you want proof for something like that, if your brain is capable of it, rewind yourself back to 2020 and all of the repetition and the incantations from our media and how many consumed it. And to this day, how many people cannot break free from that?
Have you seen those videos where they overlay the different news organizations making statements,
the walls
and
are
it's
closing
the same
in.
statement?
The walls are closing in. The walls are closing in. One of the things I read, I was doing a little bit of looking up, and because I don't want to get into things that just anger me from social things, is this whole thing of the tulpa.
Yeah.
Is there's like a tulpalism or something, that one of the groups that actually practice this are adult fans of My Little Pony.
Bronies?
If that's what you call them.
Oh my goodness.
And it's a whole thing to create your imaginary friend and trance yourself into this imaginary world where you can be whatever you want to be. And I'm just like,
oh my goodness,
my Lord. It's like, meteor, come this way. But
that's just weird to me, that a modern practice of this ancient Hindu,
not Hindu, it's Buddhist,
ancient Buddhist mysticism, are adult fans of a children's show.
And I think if you get into the history of the actual thing, it really was a sort of like a mind calming technique for real Buddhists to almost separate yourself, like I probably need to be right now after reading that, is separating yourself from your physical self to be able to actually focus on, in the Buddhist world, peace and harmony and things like that, not imagining that you're a freaking purple pony.
Well, there's even like in some New Age mysticism that tries to pass it off as a type of Christianity or Judeo, like I don't know if it involves, because I haven't really looked into it, if it involves like Christ or anything like that, but no, I think it does, because it talks about like we are Christ. That's, I am a Christ, that kind of thing. But it talks about I think it's called The Secret. It's like that's like the book. It's called like Dianetics was for Scientology. The Secret is for this thing.
Yes.
The idea of manifesting things into your world, where like if you focus on it, you can bring it into your world and stuff like that. So that's probably somewhat tied into the Tulpaism. Tulpa. What's it called?
It is a tulpa, and I think it was like Tulpalism.
Tulpalism. There you go. Not tulpism. Tulpalism.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, it kind of makes movies like this sort of a next level horror movie for me, because I'm not scared of a slasher or a werewolf or a monster in the woods or whatever, but you get into something where there's a whole group of people that are actively trying to destroy everything, and getting to how something like this can actually, I mean, good Lord, the parallels between this and 2020, or the fact that this came out in 2020 is, I'm surprised they didn't have the guy that
the movie manifested 2020.
Surprised they didn't have the guy that made the movie killed. It's almost like he was like making a warning, sending one out there to like, guys, this is getting ready to happen. Y'all need to stop it. And then we just turned around and did it. It's a movie that I put in a spot I don't know really where else to put it beside anything. I can't say it's my favorite horror movie of all time, because I have other movies that I want to rewatch. This is in a similar fashion like Midnight Mass, but not in the same way, that I want to rewatch this and just I just want to keep searching this movie for more things that I keep missing, and that's a different desire than I want to watch this because I enjoy it. It's I do enjoy this movie. I enjoy the chase of the movie. I enjoy the reveals, but part of me wants to just kind of emphasize my recognition of the fact that you have to be careful with stuff like this, because how many people are going to see this and go onto Reddit and end up somewhere 2 weeks later with the group of My Little Pony manifestors. And
well, there's something that when I was very young, like, well, not very young, like in my middle school years, my dad introduced me to Dungeons and Dragons because it was something him and his friends got into in the early 80s. And we went through some campaigns, and I really enjoyed my time with it. And even to the point where in my little like gifted program that I was in at school, me and a couple of other kids, we made our own little D&D type story, but ours was science fiction, and we had like different planets and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And we were making all these, and it was one of these things where in this program that you had to do a project, and it was just like, create something, that kind of thing. And it could be, well, you're making a new system for how to handle stray animals, that kind of stuff. You're like planning something out, and we wanted to plan this game out. And apparently we don't know who, someone complained to the school that we were playing Dungeons and Dragons in school, and they made us stop. And the teacher told us, she's like, we'll look at what you've done, and we'll give you a grade based on this, but you can't continue it. But like before that, when I was introduced in D&D, one of the things my dad always did, we'd play a session, and at the end of the session, he would sit me down and he'd be like, "Now I want you to understand, this was fake."
Yeah.
He's like, the character you were playing is not you. The things that we talked about is not real. Like he was, and I was just a little kid. And I think that was really, I'm grateful that he did that. Yeah. But he always instilled a really clear line, a definition. This is real. This is not.
Yeah. We're gonna have some fun and pretend for a while, and when we're done.
And things like this, while I do think this movie does touch on some things that I believe are real, it is fictional.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, you're right. There are people who will watch a film like this, go online as a fan, and fall into groups that are treating it as if it was real.
Yeah.
And even if this particular Cthulhu or Lovecraftian inspired creature doesn't actually exist, if you treat it as if it does, you almost like manifest the idea of the empty man yourself.
Yeah.
If you open yourself up to this kind of stuff, things that you aren't aware of could influence you. And if you're thinking of it even psychologically, let's step aside the idea that spiritual creatures put that aside. Psychologically speaking, if you immerse yourself in this and this kind of stuff, and you really focus on this kind of stuff, and you fill yourself with this kind of stuff, it's going to affect you.
Kind of going back to what I was saying at the beginning in my disclaimer, is that demons are real. You can argue details of that any way you want to, from encounters in the Bible to people that are ruling in courts that this rape did not count as a rape because it didn't last long enough. That was just in the news.
Gosh.
That however you want to classify them, they're out there. And that when you open yourself up to a world like this, people are not going to say, the people that made this movie are probably not going to say it was demonic, but it is. It's, you go through that questionnaire. That's one of the most demonic things I've seen lately. And then I would say that because in the context of this movie, it'd be a fun little thing to read. It's like, oh wow, this is how all these crazy cult people got to this place in this movie. But how many of those things are already a thing in our society?
I'm sure there are questionnaires very similar to this, if not exactly this, that is in use and being treated 100% seriously. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, you probably have to fill some of them out to get into certain secret societies, or even to get into a particular like medical program, not as a doctor, but as like a patient. Yeah. Like, well, do you want to be in this study? Fill out this questionnaire, and it's full of gobbledygook, what you think is anyway.
Yeah.
But like two of the things, like we read this as kind of a lark, and like I don't take any of this seriously, but if you were to take both or either of these, there is nothing larger than myself, and to give myself to something larger would be completely fulfilling. Those two things are dangerous. If you honestly took those and built an ideology off of them, that's dangerous.
The whole thing that I was trying to stress through talking about midnight mass is that it's not about you, and that's that mindset that it's all about you, and that you are the most important factor in any equation, and it's a dangerous thing to plant into people's minds. It's something. I kind of threw my disclaimers in, just sort of thinking about this movie and why this movie kind of affects me the way that it does. I hadn't even seen the questions. I just saw the questions that popped up when we watched the movie.
Right.
That really comes back in and kind of bolsters that my whole disclaimer thing for this is that you just have to know yourself, and you really do need to ask God sometimes about what you should do and what you should not do, and what you should allow yourself to consume and what you should not. And if something like this is just going to really negatively affect you, or fill you with fear, or really confuse you with who you are and your realities and things, that you need to stay away from stuff like this. And
I would not put this film in the category, but there have been a couple of films I've seen throughout my life that afterwards I felt disturbed by them.
I feel uneasy after this because, like I said, I will, for several days, will have that little feeling when you're walking up the steps, or you're walking past the door when I'm closing up the house at night, or I'm outside with the dog, that did I just see something? And it's because that little bit of fear is entered into your brain, and it's kind of picking at you. And when it's picking at me, it's picked through some layers of. I've seen real things that are awful. I've seen real evil. I have a lot of defenses against them, and I watch movies where people are just throwing guts around and stuff. It's like, that's plastic and corn syrup, guys. It's not gross. It's like you haven't seen what it really looks like, and that's just a lot of goo because it looks cool on film. And when a movie like this has me sometimes raising the hairs on my neck when I'm walking outside, it obviously it has some power that you have to recognize. But
I'm just what you're saying is making me think of the blood orgy from. Isn't that what they called it? The blood orgy?
Event Horizon.
Yeah. That them filming that is kind of like one of those things where it's like, well, they were filming it and it wasn't real, but it was real. It's like they participated in something.
Yeah, and if that had been included in the movie, that'd be something that you'd be exposing people to. That would be just pure evil that you're putting into their minds, and it's. I don't know what you say about a movie like this. Really, it's like I want to show it to people because it's really thought provoking, and it's a well crafted film, and it subverts your expectations multiple times, and it's a fun ride. To me, it's a good roller coaster.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
If I go ride a roller coaster that doesn't have enough speed and enough changes of directions, that I'm the one who's sitting there with my beard doing this, like
there are a lot of horror films that I think like it's fine for like teens.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would say that about this. I think this is the kind of film that like you were saying kind of can raise questions that if the answer is sought in a toxic environment, you could get some pretty,
and even if it
pretty
doesn't
bad effects.
take you down those roads, it gets under your skin. I mean, it really does. And credit to the dude.
He did a good job.
I put Seven up there as one of my favorite movies, and it's an awful movie. But that's one of the only times I've ever come out of a theater like clenching my fist, just like mad. And I was just like, if anybody tries to even look sideways at my wife, it's on. I'm going to tear half the city down because of what had happened at the end of that movie. It was just like they pushed my buttons all the way through that movie, and it was a film. It's all make believe, but like I said, sometimes
that'll probably be a main topic at some point. Seven.
Yeah.
Yes, that's such a good movie.
Let me throw it in here, and I'll bring it back up later. One of my favorite, one of my top top 3 all-time favorite movie lines, and it's Arlie, Ermy. They're sitting there talking about a thing. The phone rings, picks it up, and goes,
It's not even my
"This
desk.
ain't even my desk," and slams it back down. It has nothing to do with the story. One of those things that I was just like looking around when that happened, and just like, am I the only one that wants to laugh?
That's a great character development moment.
It's like the was it a Deadpool movie where Matt Damon and somebody else are like in these redneck outfits and they're talking about like things to wipe with.
I know the scene you're talking about. I don't remember what it's in.
I was
Was it
sitting there in a
Deadpool?
theater. I don't remember which movie it was. I think it was when Cable shows up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it could
I
be.
was sitting there about to just wet myself laughing, and there was just straight faces all around me. I'm like, am I the only one? It's like, am I the weird one here, or y'all does the world not have a sense of humor? I was like, gosh.
Can we talk about the narrative a little bit? Of like, I have questions.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we talked about the creature in the beginning. We both agree that creature existed. It's not like the monks made that totem. It's like we think that was a thing,
Yeah.
right? We agree with that. Okay. Because that was one of the things I was wondering, because there are like Memento Mori. I mean, there are like religious sites around the world where people build something with bones that doesn't exist.
This when he is fully taken over by the empty man at the end, he is back in front of that, and the empty man's spirit or whatever comes out of it. It's but it's like it's fighting its way out. It doesn't just jump out. It's like it's having to pull itself out of it. And again, I don't know if that's directorial on purpose or just they thought that looked cool. But to me, it seemed like it had been freed in a way, and it was able to.
And I don't know if like maybe that skeleton, because it does look humanoid, it just got a lot of growths. If it was like meant to be one of like an empty man, like the original empty man, that was possessed by this like cosmic entity, and it changed this person, or if this thing was the cosmic entity itself. Like the entity might not actually have its own body. That's why it needs the empty man.
Yeah, I'm completely when I have time. And I pulled this up last night, and I was like, I don't have enough time to get into this thing about the Nyarlathotep.
Yeah, Nyarlathotep.
About it. It's got multiple. It's got hands coming out several different places. It's got a lot more tentacles than this has, but tentacles would dry up once you turn to skeleton.
True. Well, it does have the stuff coming out of its back.
Yes.
So like multiple arms.
That's fascinating to me. It's going to be a rabbit hole that I dive down on a day where I'm not having to get ready for another show tomorrow.
Right.
I don't have time to today, but yeah, that's
all right. Now, Paul,
there's nothing in the movie that really suggests it, but again, I think that's how I'm interpreting it, and it may be wrong, may not be what the director intended, is that it was imprisoned there by the monks.
Okay. Yeah.
And me writing it would have just done a couple things there to just establish that.
Right.
But
Paul was an empty man because he was like emotionally broken.
Yes.
And the whole idea is that this Nyarlathotep this Nyarlathotep needs an empty vessel to go into, and Paul wasn't a completely empty vessel. That's why he broke down.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now,
or maybe was empty, but just wasn't strong enough.
Okay.
Probably a 6 one way, half a dozen the other kind of thing there.
Now, James, before 3 days ago, did James as a man physically exist?
I don't think so.
Then why did the cops know him? He had a previous precinct that he was at.
Yeah. Don't know.
Now,
hadn't really thought about well, they don't, I don't know if they know him or they just.
He looked him up before they came in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's something though. She had newspaper articles that said something about San Francisco cop. That was part of what they used to create him. So it could be that they just, when they looked it up, they just found the articles that the Pontifex put out there.
Okay. That's possible. Yeah.
Because there were clippings of San Francisco.
Yeah. They didn't know him. They didn't know him specifically.
Yeah. They just, if I have some dude shows up in my precinct, my county from jurisdiction, and he's like, starts asking questions, and you want to find out who this dude is. Where'd you work? Yeah, I worked in San Francisco. And you go verify it with somebody. Like, yeah, here's an article. Or you go online, that'd probably be the thing that it would hit, because a newspaper article is the first thing Google's going to hit in today's world would
Right.
be James what's his
Lasombra.
James Lasombra, San Francisco cop, does blah 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 blah.
And the Pontifex Institute is presented as an organization that is capable of like falsifying documents and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
So
if you're talking about the money to pull a dude from the mountains of Himalayas and store him in hospitals and pay for, good Lord, 25 years of hospital care, probably really good hospital care, would be what, millions of dollars, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't go to the hospital and get a Tylenol and an enema and not be $30,000 in the hole.
Okay, and that brings us right to the benefactor. I think that the benefactor is someone, and we'll just use Paul since he's the transmitter, is someone that Paul has influenced to give money, just by being the transmitter.
Yeah.
I think that I don't think there's like some other shadowy organization that's funding them. I don't think that's where it was pointing.
Well, the fact that it's,
and also cults make you give all your money to them.
Probably worldwide at this point, that
yeah.
you would draw in the rich,
right?
Because they'd be looking, because
they would want to be the empty man because of power.
One of their things that you see in a lot of Hollywood is they're all atheists, and when you declare that, you spend the rest of your time trying to fill that void with some other thing that's made up, and that's what attracts people to cults and UFO groups and all this stuff, is that they're still trying to fill the need that was already filled for them if they would just acknowledge reality. But
now a couple of my questions are kind of answered by the idea that James physically did not exist, because my thought was that he existed, they just like gave him false memories. That's kind of what I was thinking. But if he didn't exist at all, obviously his wife didn't exist, his kid didn't exist, he never had either.
It really looked like in the videotapes of the guy in the cabin, like he almost was like this kind of weird newborn looking adult. Yeah, like he was kind of bald and scrawny and emaciated looking and stuff. So it kind of looks like they
physically was manifesting his physical form. They hatched him
out there, however that would happen, and it just didn't fully form. I don't know what the science of that is. If there's a little pod that you put there, material, and it goes, or if it literally just starts to all come out of space and just.
I was thinking the opposite direction. I was thinking that the power that they tried to put in him, like that would empty him out, like emaciated him. That's kind of what I was thinking. Now there are.
What are we? 80% water, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
So, kind of explains why when James was manifested, he's just in a watery, swampy-looking hallway. There's plenty of water there.
Now, when I was looking for images for this, I did find someone on ArtStation made an Empty Man 3D model, and I didn't really see this in the film, but in the ArtStation 3D model, there's at the end of the arms looks like these. I don't know if they're like attached to the wall or they're like pods or something,
or tablets or something. I
can't or something.
See that far.
There's bones at his feet. I'm looking at a film grab right now. There's bones at the feet. I have no idea. I mean, there's so many ways they could go into how the manifestation happens. But anyway, all right. So
I wouldn't put that figure in my house.
No.
Blow that thing up and bury it.
All right. So I'm sorry. So James's wife and kid didn't exist. That was completely filled in his mind. Just manifested in his mind.
Memory to create grief and loss.
James and Nora do know each other, or don't they? Like how much? Like okay, we were talking about the cops. Were the cops a manifestation?
Right when Amanda's telling him all the stuff at the end, he's like, he picks up his phone and he calls Nora and says, "Hey, this is James."
And she says,
like,
"Who?"
She's like, "Who?"
Yeah.
So she acts like, I've never even heard of this guy. So she exists. She's for real. She's Amanda's real mom.
Yeah, Nora exists, but has she ever met James?
Sounds to me like they've never crossed paths.
That's what I was thinking. And then I just when I was saying that, I thought, well, I was thinking how the cop met James, and the cops were like, "Well, we looked you up," but that was at Nora's house.
Yeah.
So maybe that didn't even happen. That whole scene.
It's the same way that James walked in on himself being manifested. It was
Mhm.
like these memories were
implanted.
implanted,
Yeah.
but then as he was becoming aware of them, I guess that's why he actually was in the room where he's being manifested at the same time.
If
It's
if I wanted to do a deeper dive into this film, I would go through and I would say this scene did happen, this scene did not happen, this
yes,
scene did happen. Because I mean, like the scene where he has that one guy who talks like he's in the 50s,
yes,
Garrett, and he's punching Garrett. I think that actually happened.
yeah.
You know,
And the stuff at the
the
lake
scene where
happened.
he's talking to Amanda.
All
I
the
think
stuff
that
at the
happened.
lake happened,
Yeah, the stuff at the lake happened.
but
So I think
it's it's the
if James physically did not exist before 3 days ago, and if he never knew Nora, then yeah, there's a lot of this stuff that's just completely in his head.
yeah.
Interesting. All right, the whole way they call the empty man, the Candy Man or the Bloody Mary ritual that they do.
Yeah.
Did that exist before Paul? I'm assuming no. I'm assuming the Pontifex Institute made it up.
It sounds to me like the Pontifex Institute started with Paul.
Yeah.
Like when Paul freed the empty man from the cave, that's when it all started. So that's
Yeah, like
1995.
he went out and influenced people to create the Pontifex.
Yes.
So if that little nursery, that little folk tale, or not nursery, I'm a folk tale little superstition started with the Pontifex Institute, and the whole thing with the blowing in the bottle and all that, that's obviously because of blowing in the bone.
Yeah.
I think you were talking about what you would do narratively. James' wife, who doesn't exist, drove off a bridge. The kid was tapping a coin on his tooth. He should have been either he should have been blowing a bottle. The kid should have been blowing a bottle, and then the mom turned around and stop that or whatever. Or the tapping on the tooth, like that. Maybe instead of blowing on the bottle, you had to tap the bottle on your teeth. Like that should have been.
The only correlation I could see with the teeth thing would be like when they did that little whisper and it was like, is it almost, they almost were the same, and I don't know if those were intended to be the same or not. But
I just think that would have been a good way to kind of like associate those two things.
Yeah.
Just to say, oh, hey, they made both up.
Yes.
Let's see. I think that was my. So that didn't exist. All right. Yeah. So okay. So James is just an empty vessel, and they had to give him grief because that's what Paul had emotional issues. They had to give James grief so he would be empty.
It may be that like the reason that the first creation, they just manifested this thing in the cabin and didn't give it any human traits, no life story, no anything. And that's why it was in the cabin going crazy and tearing its side open and smearing blood around on the walls, as they didn't create a whole person. They made a body of, and the body was, I guess, woke up and was like, what's going on? Why am I here? Didn't know how to talk, didn't know how to communicate, do anything. I think they even show like when the little body is like coming towards them one time, and like it messes up the videotape, so it's emitting some kind of like energy that screws up the cameras.
Well, if Paul tried, because Paul didn't need to. Paul was still alive when the I'm not even going to try to say it again, when the Cthulhu creature, when the entity went inside of James.
Yes.
So it's not like I could see them making the vessel and then the entity going inside of that vessel and it failing and then him going back to Paul.
Yeah.
I could see that being like the idea.
Yeah, I guess it's like you have to make sure that the transfer worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
It worked. Don't need you anymore.
Yeah.
All right.
Another 100% make or breaker for movies for me. I always focus in on Mel Gibson. I love Mel Gibson, but when he shoots a gun in a movie, he can't keep his eyes open.
Mel Gibson can't?
He shoots a gun like somebody that's never held a gun before.
The guy who played the T-1000?
Robert Patrick.
Robert Patrick.
Yes.
He ruined that for me. Whenever I see a movie and someone shoots a gun and they blink, I'm like, oh. Because he perfect. No blink at all.
The guy that plays James in this, when he's killing Paul, is just sitting there, just looking over the top of his gun, staring at him and shooting him, not flinching a bit. And that's the difference between people that have handled a gun and somebody that gets handed one in the movie and says, "Here, this thing's going to make a noise."
These days, I would say digitally keep their eyes open. They might blink, but digitally make it so their eyes will stay open.
I've taught 2 kids how to hunt, and I've focused on telling them, it's like you don't breathe in and like you hold your breath or anything. It's like you breathe in, you get your breath, and then you start to squeeze as exhale. And when the shot goes off, it should be a surprise to you. And you keep your eye focused on it, and that way you don't miss, because you don't shoot at an animal that you're going to harvest as food and wound it and waste it. And my kids are good shots, and so am I, until my eyesight gets so bad that I can't anymore.
Well, you spoke of how this movie didn't do too well, and I would put this movie in the category of I'm kind of happy it didn't do well, because if it did well, we'd gotten sequels. And some things are special because they're singular.
I'd like to see other material come away from this, but not today. Like, if it could happen, if this guy could like run away to another country and make it without any influence from over here, I'd be curious to see what he could do. Writing and AI and all this other stuff now,
I don't know. Maybe
I just don't want to see what would happen.
Maybe if they use the different inspiration from Lovecraft, tell a different story, but like in the same themes and
the follow-up to this story is the Empty Man is now here. There has to be some people that have not given in yet, and there has to be somebody that tries to stop it. That's a movie.
We need you, Neo.
Be a great movie. It'd be a small group of people that haven't been caught in by this cult, and they're surrounded by cult people everywhere you go. You go to the grocery store and try to talk to somebody, and all of a sudden there's 30 people watching you because they're all tuned into the Empty Man. And
I felt like a part of the story was that this exists and you don't know it. Like that story is that, well, yeah, it's happening. It's
2025. I think it happened 5 years ago. Right. We might be the couple of the people that haven't we haven't had anybody clicking our ears yet.
We've spoken about before how I like, and we like religious themes in films and whatnot. And if you were to take this film and have a Christian based influence on it, it would be a different film. It would be a completely different film, obviously, but it would be interesting to see like the two juxtaposed sides.
I would take this film exactly as it is and have the sequel be a small group of Christians, or just a single Christian be the one that sees it all and is trying to get people to help him stop it.
Yeah.
And this movie is perfect as it is on its own. It doesn't have to inject any of that into it. It injects enough evil into it that it establishes the evil.
Oh, I definitely don't think.
I think the response would be that the answer to this would be the Matrix trying to balance itself.
Yeah, fill yourself with Christ.
There'd be some people that didn't buy into this, or that tried to resist it and fought it with their faith.
Yeah, because I mean, definitely the idea of a person needing to be spiritually empty and spiritually defunct in order for this thing to even take advantage of them at all, is right there. And the opposite side of that is, well, like Christianity tells you to fill yourself with the Spirit of God.
Yes.
And do that, and these things can't affect you.
Yes.
And that narrative, I'd like to see, especially the Christian, I'd like to see those narrative beats touched upon in film.
Kind of the whole point of my whole disclaimer at the beginning is like, you want to warn people against that, because there's a lot of people that don't have that, and they need that. And
well, to kind of speak on that, it's interesting because I don't see how anybody could walk away from this film and see this as being an endorsement of the events that happen in the film. Yeah. I mean, it's a warning.
Yeah, that's what amazes me. That
the idea that people will walk away and be like, "Let's do that." What?
The same people that brought you COVID were probably, if they didn't see this, is the only reason it got out. But they would be like, somebody's letting our plan out of the bag.
But interesting again. It's interesting that this would fit right into our Lovecraftian discussion.
And our
I,
Midnight Mass discussion, as
yeah.
far as I'm concerned, that's
I really think it's impressive how much Lovecraft has permeated this media, horror media. And he thought he was a failure when he was alive.
It kind of amazes me too how everything that we keep doing keeps kind of unintentionally linking together.
Yeah.
And I don't approach this with the plan. We actually
not at all.
We drew this out of a cookie, and then I put this presentation together last night in an hour. And maybe there's a little guidance coming from somewhere that we don't recognize, and I'm not questioning anything that happens.
Well, David Pryor, I will be watching his career. There's a TV series that was in 2021 called Voir. How would you pronounce that? Voir?
It's like to view.
Okay.
It's
a French.
Oh,
okay, French word. There you go. That's why I didn't know it. But yeah, like I've said with some of these other directors, I'm impressed enough with their work that I would watch something just because of them. This is a series, so
I'm just pocketing this guy away as somebody that I might need to contact for leadership when the world falls apart. Right. Need a small list of people that I can employ. Hold up on the mountains with us.
All right, it's a collection of visual essays for the love of cinema. So that's not even an actual film. Yeah. And like I said, he was kind of before that. Like, how did they ever make a movie of Facebook? The Vanger Archives. He was a producer on that. And like The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Men Who Hate Women. That's a behind the scenes.
Yeah, like little documentaries or shorts or something.
Yeah, so he hasn't really done a lot of like straight up films.
Maybe the Pontifex Society came to get him.
Maybe. He is currently working, I think he wrote and is directing The Boy in the Iron Box. And that is a plane carrying a team of mercenaries crashes on a remote snowy summit. They come across a maze-like stone fortress, and terror takes a new shape that sounds like At the Mountains of Madness.
There you go.
So he's obviously inspired by Lovecraft.
He's a Lovecraft fan.
Yeah.
And therefore we are fans of him.
Tell you what, if anything, I had like cursory knowledge of Lovecraft, and I was just Lovecraft's fine. That's how I felt. But I'm definitely respecting what the crazy mind that guy had.
I'm getting more interested in trying to track down some stuff and read it. I've got too many other things in front of him on that time, and I'm getting old and running out of time. So
I'm telling you, man, get that collection audiobook. You drive enough.
Yeah.
If you can do audiobooks while driving.
Depends on the reader.
Yeah. Well, so our next episode,
we will be doing desserts. I'm already excited about that because we got donuts.
We got donuts. More empty calories.
Empty calorie day today.
That's right.
And then I'll go back to eating broccoli tomorrow. And
And I definitely think, like you were saying, we've been talking about what we're going to do in the coffee service. And I think films with cults is a really good one, because since you've brought that up, I've been kind of going over my head. Well, what movies would I want to talk about? And there's a few.
I put 3 down on a piece of paper in like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So yeah. I'm probably, when I do that and I go back and spend more time looking at anything else, I know I'm just going to come back to those 3. So I'm not going to spend any time on anything else. There are other quality ones, but these are just ones that are one of the first movies like that I ever saw, and the other is a 2 different movies from the same director that I just discovered, and I think they will sandwich themselves nicely around this empty meat.
Okay. I'm looking forward to hearing about them.
Yeah.
I guess this is where we record primarily for YouTube, but we also put it on Spotify. We do have a X account. It's all in the little information box below.
Yep. Yeah, follow us on there if you can.
Yeah.
Share it with somebody. I don't know if we even have followers at this point, but
on X, I don't think so. I've like replied to some things, and honestly, without paying for it, I don't know how you gain followers on X anymore. I really don't.
It's not a super high concern on my list. But
it's not. No, like we said, we do this just so we have an excuse to get together. And if other people enjoy it, all the better.
Yes, we can be your secret. We'd appreciate it if you shared it with somebody, but if not, we're good either way.
Okay, well, this has been fun. See you on episode 34, Joel.
We'll see you then.
All right, bye.
Later.